Hello, my little diamonds, and welcome to this episode of Darlia's Dreams. I am so excited this week. We have a very special guest with us. We have Caryn Wyatt, the co-founder of the Wyatt Group. She also happens to be my sister, and I am so pleased and excited to have her on the show. So, Caryn, will you tell us just a little bit about the Wyatt Group before we really dive into why you got started?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on this show. I'm excited. This is so cool. I love your intro too. Yes. So as co-founder of the Wyatt Group Corp, we are a full real estate investing company. And what we do is we started off wholesaling. So that's one of the avenues that we do in our business is wholesaling properties. We also help investors obtain a portfolio. So when people want to get started in real estate and stuff, a lot of times we're like the plug, the go-to people. We typically have all the good inventory and some good resources for lenders, hard money, just people that are in investing. Period is totally different from like retail
Right.
work. So that's what we do at the Wyatt Group, and we're growing.
Yes, you are. And that is one reason I wanted to have you on the show, because knowing you for the amount of years that I've known you and just seeing how much that you've changed as a person and how much you've really become such an entrepreneur, and you're always
Yes.
just going after it. You've got so much drive. So I wanted you just to think really back to a moment in time and what changed in your life to really change your overall focus and really drive you into this type of career?
Ooh, okay.
I know that's a lot.
The okay, there were a couple of things that played major factors into my change and switch into entrepreneurship. I believe that we are all gifted with some gifts, drives, whatever we truly want to do and have. And I think for me as a kid, I always wanted to have some type of business. So like most kids, they play house and stuff. Me, I played business, and I was always bossing people around and all that kind of stuff. So it was like my thing, naturally. So getting into corporate America, it was kind of cool, but I really just took like whatever opportunities I was able to come across and just build into business and then get into bookkeeping and accounting. But it wasn't something that I was in love with. It was just something that I learned how to be good
Right.
at doing and making money at. So I ended up taking a job for Fulton County, and they were the client, and the job was a contract, and I had like 10 years on the contract. And so I took it in like 2006, and that was like right after my mom had passed. And so one of the motivating factors for me was, one, my biggest support system was gone. So I'm thinking like, oh wow, my mom's gone. I'm also a new mom, by the way, at the time, because I just had my daughter in 2005. So I was like, what do I do? I have to have something. I had to survive and make it. So I was able to land a very good paying job that and we're being taught that good jobs are, and there are good jobs. I'm not knocking people that work 9 to 5. It was just that at the time, what I considered a good job was really just getting me by,
Right.
keeping things going, taking care of my kid, and I was appreciative of that. But I knew that I like nice stuff. I wanted to give her and offer her a different type of life. So I had started looking at Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then but I didn't have the right people around me.
Right.
My friends and family at the time, I love everybody dearly, but they just mentally weren't on the entrepreneurship mindset to go forward. So I knew how to hustle and get money, but I did not know how to cross over to that next step of really believing in myself. So in the over the course of the years that I worked on that career in that field with the county, I ended up meeting Kareem, my husband now. And that's kind of like for me where I was introduced to a different way of thinking. He and we started dating in 2011, and when we were just like partying, it was all fun at first, but then he, came over one day and was just like, "Hey, watch this movie with me," and it was The Secret.
Oh, yes.
And and it's so funny because I was just like, what is this guy really doing? I'm thinking he was being just trying to, get in where he fit in. But because I really didn't have anything else going on to say no, I just was like, yeah, I'll sit down and watch it with you. So it was like once he showed me that movie, it was like a little click went on for me with mindset, because I was raised religiously, and a lot of the things that I was taught were to believe in a higher being, but not so much myself.
Yeah, the Lord will provide.
Yeah, understand.
Yeah,
like
not knowing your part.
Right, but
yeah.
not right, exactly. So you have the faith, but then you're blank on how to get to this destination.
Yeah.
And so the mindset that seed that he planted that day, he followed it up and made it a part of his, because it was something he was working on within himself. He shared it with me. And right around like going into 2012, I moved and got a bigger place. And again, my mindset was still being conditioned to just stop thinking the way I was, like wasting time. I was doing a lot of just wasting.
Right.
And with Kareem, he kind of challenged my mindset to be purposeful. Like, what are you doing? Because he was trying to figure himself out too. So he was like, well, these are the things that somebody's asking me, so I'm going to ask you the same things. And so I appreciate him sharing that information, but that's really where I shifted. It was like, for me, it's like I started changing my mindset. And by the time American Water, the job that I had with the county, had terminated me on, they terminated me on January 21st, 2013. And it was the day before my birthday. And I remember coming home so hurt, because I'm like, man, I had given so much to this company. I had stayed late. I've labored in love, thinking that I was way more valuable to them than what I really was, and not realizing that I wasn't that valuable to them, and that I needed to come up with something for myself. And I was really frustrated with just, applying for jobs. I didn't want to keep doing that same thing. And so Kareem and I went to a Rich Dad, Poor Dad seminar maybe a couple of weeks after I got terminated. And then it was like from there, the light switch really clicked, because I was listening to other entrepreneurs, other people say how they were obtaining their freedom. And not only that, but they were making a lot more money. And we were so conditioned to just work that making lots of money was it always sounds scamish or pyramid.
Yes.
Yeah. Something like a pyramid. So it's like, oh man, how can I really do this? So it's like, I went in there like a blank page. I was like, okay, I'm wide open. And from there, he and I, he got a mentor and a coach, and then shared that mentor and coach with me, and opened up like a whole door for me. And that is really the course that changed everything for me. I met someone who wanted to be different. I met somebody who was being different, and they shared that difference with me. And instead of me worrying about the who's, whys, and hows, I just went with it because I didn't have anything to go against it, to tell me not to. So it was like, I tried. And that's the direction that we took. And then when we being up under a mentor and a coach teaching us how to go out in the field, hands on, and showing us like how to find properties and things, that's the door that opened up for me to start a real journey. He and I created a really good partnership, and just started taking steps from there.
Right. So, I think your story is amazing, and it's going to resonate with so many people, because there's countless number of people that are in just day in and day out jobs, living paycheck to paycheck, and really they're appreciative of their jobs, and they've never thought to put the value in themselves. They've always put the value in someone else or made a lot of money for a company or another person. So it's definitely a shift that's going to resonate.
Major.
And I like the way that you explained it. Like, you know, there was The Secret, there was Rich Dad Poor Dad. So it's not like it was a one-time switch, a light goes on, and then you're instantly making moves. It's a slow mindset change, and it's making slow investments at a time. So when did you know? So and I know there was a position that you got fired, and then I remember when I was talking to you about this before that you took another job while you were building your business because you kind of take care of your day-to-day shit while you're following your dreams, folks. Like bills are real.
Bills are real. So okay, so because the beauty about entrepreneurship is that it is a journey. It's not necessarily a prescribed destination. It is a journey all in itself. And so for me, it was now that I have my mind conditioned to see that I have the ability to do things and believe in myself, and then I'm with someone who thinks that way too, and I'm changing my surroundings. I'm changing the people I talk to. I'm changing the places that I'm going. I'm changing the conversations, and so now I'm just going from conditioning to really mentally being who I want to be as an entrepreneur. So Kareem and I, we partnered up. We moved to the city, and then we both realized, like, okay, well, the city living is definitely expensive. We know we want to invest in our real estate business, but at the same time, we had to pay bills. So I took a temp job through a temp service for this gentleman, and I worked there with him doing his bookkeeping a couple of days out the week just to kind of pay bills and everything. And then Kareem and I, we gave up everything else. Like, we gave up all our extracurricular party stuff just so that we could take all the extra money and put it into the real estate business. And it took us about 6 months to get our first deal. But when we've got our first deal, our very first wholesale deal. And when we got our very first wholesale deal, we were so excited because I believe we made like $5,000 off of that deal, and we had to split it with the coach. But we were just excited at the fact that the formula that we were being taught in real estate worked, and we were like, man, it was like once you get past that first deal, you're like, okay, where do I go? Let's go, so we're excited. And so we continue to put money into our business, continue to repeat the same steps. And then what we realize is if you keep doing it, you'll keep making money. And so that's what we did. And so we kept making money. And then while working, and I took on a office manager, I actually got a promotion and took on an office manager job and was closer to the house. And I was thinking, well, I can work this job, a little bit while we still iron out bills and stuff, because we had got a bigger place. We ended up getting a condo at the 12, which is really expensive. It's like a $400,000 piece of property, and it was a big deal. And we were both shocked that we even got it. We were like, how too young? I mean, it was just crazy. But when we got it, we were like, okay, we don't want to fail. So we still didn't let our 9-to-5s go yet, but we were building up our courage to get there. And so we had set a goal and said, well, if we make $10,000 consistently every month for the next 6 months, then one of us will come off the job. And at the time, Kareem had more time in the city because he had been there for over 10 years. So initially it was me coming off the job first.
Can we talk about the performance review? Please tell them about the performance review that helped you. You come off the job. So, everybody, we've all lived through these performance reviews. We had to give some performance reviews, but this is a good story.
So on this job, this last job as the office manager, I had, they wanted me so badly to be way more into the work. They wanted me to be at the Christmas parties. They wanted me to be at the luncheons. They wanted me to mentally be engaged, and I wasn't. I was like there, but mentally checked out. I was like doing real estate after 5 and on the weekends. So I was like, y'all, this is the only window I have. So when my performance review came around, they did my performance review. the director and my boss said in the review, "Oh, Caryn is so great. She's a wonderful office manager, and she aspires to be an entrepreneur. But we're trying to get her to run the office efficiently. And if she can run the office efficiently, then maybe she can build her own company and have her own company." And that didn't sit well with me at all. I think that I was just like livid with that review. And it happened on Mother's Day weekend of 2016. And that Friday, my boss and I had words about it, and he was like, "Go home for the weekend." He was like, "Just go home and we'll."
Because she's not signing it, folks. She's holding out the signature.
Yeah,
on the
he wanted
performance
me
review.
to. They wanted me to sign off on my review, and I wouldn't sign off on it. I wouldn't sign off on the paperwork. So over that weekend, I went home that Friday, and Kareem told me, "Don't worry about it. It was all good." And it was so funny because, he and I had more money in the bank at the time from like closing all these deals, and I'm sitting here like, why do I have to keep showing up and putting up with this? I don't know. But that weekend, we just went ahead and did what we were doing. And that Monday morning, Kareem got up and just said, "Hey, when you go to work, just go take the keys back. Just go and give them their keys back today." And I said, "Are you serious?" And he was like, "Yep." He was like, "You don't got to put up with that. The energy's not good. They don't value you. Just go take the keys back. We got this." And that was like the happiest day. I rode to work so ecstatic because it's like, who is excited to go in there and be like, "I'm about to quit and drop the ball"? Like, right, you're going in to specifically quit. Everybody's expecting, drama.
Yeah.
There's no drama today. As a matter of fact, birds are chirping. I just, I felt like all the way to work, it was like every time I drove past grass, flowers started popping up because they just knew like everything was in perfection that day.
Yes.
So I got to the office and I handed them the keys. And they were kind of in shock because I guess they thought I needed the job. I don't know.
Well, I'm sure that comes with it, right?
Yeah,
Everybody's like, "Oh, how could you ever leave something
right.
secure that barely pays your bills to go bet on yourself?"
Right. And so that's what we went and did. We
Yes.
went and betted on ourselves. And I to this day, I love to say this part because it's my favorite part of my story. After leaving that job, I made my salary in 30 days. So something that would normally take me a year to make on somebody's job, 40 hours a week, Kareem and I were able to make in 30 days.
That's
period.
Amazing.
Betting on ourselves. And from that point forward, he and I never looked back. He allowed me to hold things down. And then in March of that following year of 2017, he was able to turn in his resignation letter to the city of Atlanta and retire from his job.
And we'll have to ask him if birds were chirping and flowers were growing and the grass was green. And we got a thumbs up in the background, so I do believe that was a yes.
I know for me, I felt like that all the way to the job. I was like, man, today's going to be a great day. Y'all have no idea. Here's your keys. Life is good. I don't care nothing about nothing in this office. The stapler, if I bought it, here, give it to somebody. Who cares? I don't care. I was out, and that was just like the start of it for us. That was like we had been starting, but at that point where we left 9 to 5s, that was the real pivotal turn because then the mindset that you have changed and conditioned yourself to, now you have to apply.
Exactly.
You have to apply
the hard part.
Yep, you have
begins.
to apply those principles. You have to apply those theories. You have to apply all of those things on good days, bad days, and all of that. It's like you still have to keep believing in yourself even when, it doesn't look like you're going to get a deal or the marketing is not working or people's not calling. You still have to believe in yourself and know that things are going to work. And then for us, it was like we got up and showed up for ourselves every day, but we even did it better. Because like if you go to work for somebody else and you work hard and you know you got a report that's due on the 15th and you trying to crunch numbers and meet this deadline, you're giving these people countless time that you'll never get back.
Right.
But why wouldn't you go just that hard for yourself when you get an opportunity to bet on yourself? And I think that's what works for us is the work ethic.
Yeah.
behind it. But it took the mindset changing first, and then you go into that next step of applying it with the work ethic.
Yeah. Well, that story is great. I mean, that's what the show's all about, is really, chasing your dreams, finding the courage to chase the dreams, and that mind shift change is what it takes before you actually take action. And then after you do, it's really applying the hard work, course correcting, making mistakes, getting back up, keep moving forward and keep doing well. So I can't wait to have you back on the show again. And because I know we could sit here and talk all day, but it's been great. And I hope that this story resonated with a lot of people, and they start to value themselves and really what their passion is, and start to follow their dreams too.
Absolutely. I just want to say to everybody aspiring, everybody that's listening, no matter what you choose to do with your life, there's nothing wrong with having 9 to 5s or any of those things. There are some wonderful careers. There are wonderful companies that take very good care of their employees. I'm just going to pressure everyone to say, whatever your dreams are, just don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. Bet on yourself no matter what the situation is. Just, believe more in you. And sometimes we think we're doing it, but we're not. And then we're astonished at what we really can do when we try. So just keep going no matter what. That's my thing.
That's great. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.
All right. The sexy Darlia.